Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. This video is going to be about the personal missions and I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about them and also some example gameplay of completing the most challenging ones of the first set. Now there are some awesome rewards for these personal missions. You can get female crew for the first time that you can then assign to any tank that you have unlocked. And as I'm going to show in some more detail in just a minute, the female crews are undoubtedly the best in the game. The girls arrive at 100% training level with enough experience to train an additional perk, as well as having Sisterhood of Steel, which is the equivalent of Brother-in-Arms, completely for free. But if you're not interested in female crew members, then don't worry, you're still going to be able to unlock 4 very unique tanks. The Stugfear, the T-28 Concept, the T-55A, and the Object 260. Now, if you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, you will have already seen full reviews on the T-55A and the Object 260, which are undoubtedly the most special of the 4 vehicles. As I complete the missions and unlock these tanks, I will be putting up gameplay videos of them both on my Twitch stream and on this YouTube channel, so stay tuned for more. So the mission hub is accessible on the top left. This is called Campaign 1, the long-awaited backup, so that suggests that they might be doing more campaigns such as this in the distant future. If you click in the top right, you can see the campaign rewards and you can find out the vehicle details for each of them. Now you can't choose to go straight for the Tier 9 German T-55A or the Soviet Object 260, the Tier 10 heavy tank. You have to unlock them one by one in order. And to be able to unlock it, you need to get 20 commendations. As shown by this number here, I have 10 out of 20. I've unlocked half of the Stug. So how do you get these commendations, you might be asking? Well, if you click on the Stug, which is the first tank that you will have to unlock, you will see 5 sets of missions. 15 for light tanks, 15 for medium tanks, 15 for heavy tanks, the same number for tank destroyers and artillery. And for each set of missions that you complete, you get 4 commendation points. And there's also a chance to unlock an extra commendation if you complete the final mission with honors. So you can't start all the missions all at once, you have to go through them one by one. And to be able to progress to the next mission in the series, you have to complete the primary objective of the mission in question. It is also worth considering that to be able to complete the first Stug set of missions, you are going to have to play tanks of Tier 4 and higher. And obviously, you have to play the tank type for the set. So for example here, this set for light tanks, well, I have to play a Tier 4 or higher light tank. To give you an idea of how the missions progress, let's just take a look at some of the examples. The first mission in the heavy tree is destroy an enemy vehicle. Now if you want to complete it with honors, you're also going to have to achieve at least 1,000 damage done in the battle. And if you're able to do that, you will get an extra 25,000 credits. Now these missions are very lucrative indeed. For the first mission, you can net 75,000 credits, albeit only once, for simply destroying an enemy vehicle and doing 1,000 points of damage. Later on, you can unlock premium consumables, a large repair kit, a large first aid kit, and an automatic fire extinguisher, as well as 35,000 credits for simply being among the top 3 players on your team by damage caused and also surviving the battle. And for the final 5 missions, you are able to get 115,000 credits for completing each one with honors. I made a huge amount of credits doing these missions, enough to be able to afford my brand new Tier 9 turreted tank destroyer, the Conway, which as you might see here, we've already got a couple of the female crews in that I will show you later. So to be able to move on to the next mission in each series, you only have to fulfill the primary condition. The secondary condition is only for getting you extra credits and also for a completionist factor. The only mission that you really want to fulfill both the primary and secondary objectives is the final one, because you will get an extra commendation, which means that you will only have to play 4 out of the 5 tank types. If you complete 4 with honors, i.e. 4 times 5 equals 20, which means that you can unlock the Stug. However, if you're unable to complete the secondary objectives of the missions, you could simply fulfill the primary conditions and play all of the tank types, probably including artillery, and then 5 times 4 equals 20. So don't worry if you've got a particular type of tank that you despise, then you will not have to play it. Now these missions are designed to be challenging. For the Stug, it won't be so bad, but definitely for the later ones like the T-55A and the Object 260, they're going to get very challenging indeed. As an example, to do the 15th heavy tank mission, for the Stug, i.e. the final one, you will have to do 8,000 total damage caused, damage received, and damage blocked by armor. Those can all be combined. So as an example, you could do 5,000 damage in a battle, block 1,000 with your armor, and then die for 2,000 hit points to complete the mission. Or alternatively, you could take not a single point of damage and not get hit once in the battle, but do 8,000 damage in your heavy tank and you'll complete the mission. So this makes you think that there are definitely going to be specific tanks that are better for completing each of the missions. And so that means that if you've got a wide variety of tanks in your garage, that you might have an advantage and get these missions done more quickly than other players. Finally, I had a reason to use my mouse, and that was how I was able to complete the final heavy tank mission so easily. And I'll be showing you this replay in just a minute after I talk through the female crews and why they're so important. So for each set of missions you complete, you can choose one female crew member. So the way that this works to claim that female crew member is a box pops up, you choose the nation that she will be, the tank that you want to put her in, and the role that she will play in the tank. I.e., for me, I chose this crew member to be British, to be in the convoy, and to be the commander in the convoy. Now, what's important to think is that, at least for now, there's no way to change the nation of the female crew member. And there's no way to change them from being a commander to, for example, a gunner. You can, however, easily move them between tanks. So while it's not so much of a big deal what tank you put them in, it is very important what role you choose for them and what their nationality is, because as it is at the moment, this is not changeable. If you don't like the way that your new crew member looks or her name is, then, for example, you can change it for a small amount of gold. But what you guys really need to know is what advantage can these female crews bring you? Well, they have two key advantages. One, that they get this Sisterhood of Steel, the female equivalent of Brothers in Arms, completely for free. They also have an entire 100% skill or perk to assign, and that undoubtedly is going to be Sixth Sense. And so it was absolutely amazing for me to play my first game in the convoy with Sixth Sense on my commander, in her first ever game. After that, you can immediately assign the next skill that you want to train, and for me that's going to be repairs. But there is also one super important feature about these female crews and the Sisterhood of Steel, and that is that it does not exponentially increase the amount of experience that you require to learn the other skills. So this is the amount of experience that is required to go from 0 to 100% of each skill. To go from 0 to 100% of your first skill on your crew, it will take 210,000 experience. And if you average 1,000 experience for every game, then that's going to take you 210 battles. For the second skill, it's 420,000, 840,000 for the third, and 1.68 million for your fourth skill, which is roughly 1,680 battles without any kind of bonuses if you manage to average 1,000 experience a game. So our female crew comes with this for free. And in theory, it also comes with Brothers in Arms for free as well. Or as it's called on this crew, Sisterhood of Steel. That's 630,000 experience free for you, which is the equivalent of playing 630 battles if you average 1,000 experience, or 1,260 battles if you average 500 experience. Now, what's even more important about the way that these dynamics work is that the Sisterhood of Steel doesn't actually count as a skill, i.e. increasing the amount of experience that you need to get subsequent skills. So while my British crew member Alison Rickleton has Sisterhood of Steel and she has Sixth Sense, to be able to go from 0 to 100% of repairs, it is only going to require 420,000 experience. If it was a male crew with Brothers in Arms and Sixth Sense, it would require 840,000 to go from 0 to 100 of your repairs. So with this in mind, let's adjust this. Let's simply move it over one. And we'll put in here Brothers in Arms for free. So this means that if you want to get a 5-skill crew in World of Tanks, it's going to be over 2 times faster with a female crew than it would be with a male crew. And I forgot to take into account that this is completely free as well. And what this means is that, let's say that you have a 4-skill crew, your most experienced crew in World of Tanks. And for me, that might be my M48 pattern with 87% of their 4th skill. And what this means is that if you were to replace a 4-skill crew with a female crew, the female crew would overtake the male crew and reach their 5th skill completed faster than your male crew. So I'm sorry, Major Archibald Teedon, even though you have fought 1,479 battles, you are very quickly going to become redundant and replaced by the new female crews. And so what this means is that you're probably not going to want to skip sets of missions to complete. Because fair enough, you can advance on to the next tank, but you will have only got 4 out of 5 possible female crew members. And that means that in total you are going to be able to get 20 female crew members from the first campaign. So be very, very careful about where you put them, because they truly are unique, special, and going to become better, faster than your male crews would. But that's quite enough theory crafting. Let me show you the hardest of the heavy tank missions for the Stug, Heavy Tank Mission 15, Tempered Steel. So when you're in the game, if you forget about what your objectives are, you can simply hold your tab key. Heavy Tank 15, Tempered Steel, damage caused, damage received, and damage blocked by armor must be at least 8,000 hit points in total. And also my secondary objective is that I have to win the battle. So, you guys might not be surprised that I am using the mouse. I cannot think of a better tank to be able to complete this mission. The armor is thick and very well angled, which means that I can bounce a lot. It also has 3,000 hit points, and so that counts towards a lot for the damage received. It's basically got to be the best tank for completing this mission. Even if I was to just simply die, I would do 3,000 out of the 8,000. And so if I could do no damage and simply have to block 5,000 damage in the mouse, which is rather unremarkable. So let's accelerate into position. I am going to fire a lot of APCR in this round, but frankly I was trying to rush through the missions. And I was making so many credits by completing them that even if I was to only fire APCR in this mission, we will still make a good profit. So here we go, we're trying to bait the C-100 into shooting me. He fires what sounded like a heat round straight into the front of the track. Unable to damage us, but thankfully that E-100 just shot one and it bounced off the top of my turret. Wonderful. That's 750 out of the 8,000 done right there with that one bounce. And so if you're playing the mouse and you want to complete this objective, simply just bait them into bouncing you. I think I bounced my own ally there. Sorry about that, Sky Sea. Yeah, he hit right on the corner as I went backwards a little bit. Very easily done. So this VK has no interest in shooting me. E-100 on the other hand, thank you very much E-100. That's 1,500 damage blocked by my armor so far. We finish off the VK-4502B, and then I go around the corner. However, I see the AMX-50B and I have no interest in him shooting me. We are being pincered here. The enemy are playing very aggressively indeed. However, we have 3 artillery and so do the enemy, so we want to stay in some cover right now. Those IS-7s certainly are not in cover. I turn this behemoth of a tank round to try and face off against these Tier 10 Soviet heavy tanks. We put one good shot into him, and Skysea's trying to cover up the best he can as well. I tell him that I'm going to side scrape out, although I side scraped a little badly there and I allowed the IS-7 to penetrate my tank. We bounce that one, however, and finish off the enemy IS-7. Every shot that you take, that you bounce in the mouse, is another, well, against an IS-7, 490 towards the total. That one goes into our tracks and is absorbed. I'm not sure if shots that go into your tracks and damage your modules count towards this, as it says, damage blocked by armor. Not sure if the tracks count as armor or not. But I'd say roughly so far we're up to at least 2,000 that we've seen ricocheted, and probably about an extra 2,000 that have gone into our tracks. So I'm just baiting out shots there. A lovely bait. Heat round fails to penetrate my tank. Another 750 for me. Thank you so much, Mr. E-100. I don't want to block this AMX-50B, so I let him back out. Then I push around the corner and proceed to punish the enemy E-100. As I'm firing APCR, we can easily take out the cheeks of the enemy E-100, and we bounce another 750 damage from him. I was getting very confident in this game that we were going to complete our objective. And it doesn't really matter that we have only done 1,800 damage as we've been blocking so much indeed. I want to help out SkyC here, so I get in front of him and start to put pressure up on the enemy E100 here. Really, I would say that if both tanks are firing premium ammunition, the Mouse is better than the E100. The problem with the Mouse, at least in this kind of a fight, I mean, in this fight, we don't really need the top speed of the E100. And the alpha damage is nice, and the heat rounds are always nice on the E100. But when the Mouse fires APCR at you, the E100's armor counts for nothing. Whereas if the Mouse does angle itself, it can manage to ricochet, especially considering that those heat rounds have no normalization, and the Mouse's armor is all about the angle. You just feel so sorry for an E100 there. We see what 311 millimeters of penetration can do to the front plate of the E100. Even though he's angling his lower plate at 45 degrees, we're still able to penetrate his lower plate easily. And there you have it. Heavy Tank 15, Tempered Steel. Let's just take a very quick look at the post-game stats to see how well we did in this 6-minute and 15-second round. So Heavy Tank 15 mission Easy Mode Mouse is what I was calling this. Steel Wall. Unsurprisingly, let's see exactly what our stats were. We had 3,574 damage done out of the 8,000. Our damage received was 1,283 to add on to that. And our damage blocked by armor was 7,210. Which strongly suggests to me that all of those shots that tracked the Mouse did count towards the mission. However, I can't be 100% sure about that, so don't quote me on it. And if you know for sure, please do let me know in the comments down below. And so hopefully now you know everything that you needed to about these missions and the female crews, and gave you some food for thought about choosing specific tanks to complete your missions. If you enjoyed this video, or it was just useful to you, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And let me know in the comments down below what you think about the missions. Are you worried, a bit like myself, that they encourage people to play badly in the game? Such as, for example, a relentless raid, for which to complete you have to capture the enemy base. I think we all know how we feel about capping when you don't need to, and how much it lowers the amount of experience in the game. Or do you think these missions are just simply awesome? My opinion is that although there are some teething problems with some of the requirements for the missions which I think should be changed, I think all in all it's a fantastic feature which is definitely encouraging me to play more, with some absolutely super rewards available. And so if you want to see me completing basically all of the missions one by one, then definitely check out my Twitch stream. And if you don't worry, I'll be putting up the highlights on this channel. Anyway, as always guys, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.